Hi guys, Samantha from Jessama Tutorials here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make your own texture stamp using leftover clay. Now this texture stamp is going to be part of a project tutorial I'll be showing in a few weeks, so that is why I'm showing it to you today. We are going to be making a dead tree stamp. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using a piercing pin, and what we're going to do is we're just going to trace out where we want the trees to be coming in. So just trace it out first, and you can always rub out these lines. So I want one kind of leaning off there, one other one kind of standing straight up, then I want a branch coming off here, and a branch coming off there, and another one going off over there. Then we can have a branch coming off here. So just trace where you want the imprints to be first, and then if you make a mistake you can easily just smudge out that line and it's not going to affect the overall design. So this is pretty easy. Okay, so I've traced out the basic sketch of what I want. Now what I'm going to do for the base of the tree is I'm going to take the thick end of my tool and I'm going to start making an indent. So this is the early stages of the design. So I'm going to be going up to here, so you've got to envision the branches are going to be getting thinner as you get to the top, so you only want to be making some areas thick and some areas thin. And then the base of the tree is also going to be fairly thick, so you want to kind of imprint that out as well. Just like that. And then you'll do that for the base of the other trees as well. Okay, just like that. Now you'll bring over your needle tool and you'll start working on the other branches, making them thinner as they go up, just like that. Just work slowly. This doesn't take too long. Sorry, my head got in the way there. This doesn't take too long, but you just want to work slowly, and the slower you work, the easier it will be. And these stamps last a long time. I've got lots of them, they're great. Okay, and you can always widen it out as well. And you can make adjustments to the design by maybe lengthening the branches if you want. Like that. And maybe widening them out. And with your first pass, don't worry too much about going deep. You can worry about that later on when we get to more the detail of trying to get in those bark-like lines. But for the moment you are just making an imprint. So if you make a mistake, it's very easy to go back now and just fix it up. So just relax and enjoy the process. Okay, so here are the trees, and you can see that we've done the bases in sort of a streaked way, and I've added a few more branches because it felt a little bit empty. So you can create deviations to the design as you go, because well, it's going to look a little bit different, so you might need some more branches. And so I'm just hollowing it out with this. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the overall design. Now what we need to do is we need to start manipulating the design in such a way that it starts looking maybe a bit like a tree, and some areas maybe need to have some hollowing out, like over here there's a bit where the trunk looks a little bit too thin, so I'm just busy hollowing that out. And in the meantime you can make these indents deeper while you're going back and making sure that you're happy with it. And don't make it too deep because then that will look a little weird. We're not going to be doing mukumegane with this, we just want a texture so that we can embellish it with some surface effects. So you don't want this tooth too deep because that would look little bit strange. If you wanted to do mukumegane with this, then you could make it deeper, but for the moment I don't really want it too deep, and it'll be quick to make another one. So I'm just busy hollowing out these branches, just making sure that they're all roughly the same depth and they have nice pointed ends, everything like that. And also I'm going in with my tool because I've got a nice sharp end, and I'm purposefully scraping at the edges here to create a kind of wood grained effect. So you can see here that we've got some streaks, and that will just add to the effect. Now just a quick tip, when you are doing this you want fairly stiff clay. So this clay is pretty old, it's a mix of the last 3 months or so's clay that I wasn't very happy with and it didn't really work for anything. So it's pretty old, it's been sitting around for a while, so it's quite stiff. And this is what you want for a stamp, because it means that carving it's pretty easy, none of the details go all smushy, and that it means that you have less distortion as well. So it will be easier if you're using old clay. So just go around and maybe tend a little bit to it. This is almost done. I'm just looking for areas that need further embellishment, like they probably want another branch, and I'm just going to widen it out a bit. And this doesn't take much practice, it's really easy. Okay, and just make sure that you just go and hollow out all of those branches, because you want your clay to go in there and then stick up. So I'll show you an example of the bead that we'll be making when we have put the stamp in the oven, and while it's in the oven I'll just show you an example of what our next project will be, because it's really pretty. And I'll show you some examples of some other stamps that we could make, and if you wanted me to make them, then you can let me know and I'll show you how to make them, but if not, then they'll just be there for inspiration. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how hollowed out each of these branches are, so I'm just going to go with my pick and draw around to get rid of excess clay. Okay. There we are. Okay, and so you can decide over here if you want your bead over here so you have a nice busy area, or maybe you want it over here so you have a lot of extra space. I'm just going to add another branch over there. So you can spend a little while figuring out if you want more branches, but I'm pretty happy with that. So that is now going to go in the oven for a full hour at Primo's recommended temperature, and in the meantime I'll bring over something for you guys to see. Okay, so here's the example of the bead that we are going to be making. So it's really simple but really nice at the same time. Now this one's quite old, so you can see my finishing's not as good, but this is the design that we are going to be going with. So you can see the trees in the background, and then we've done some nice little mica powder in the back. So I'll show you how to make this one. And I'll just bring over some stamps that we're going to be doing. Well, not going to be doing, if you want me to do them. So here is a wheat field that I made. And all these stamps are fairly simple, but they're quite nice. And here's an icicle one that I did. Icicles are pretty cool. And this is a bramble bush. Then I've got some fern leaves. This one I really like. Probably do a bead on this one later on. Then I've got this like really old twisted tree. This one's another one of my favourites. Then here's the one that our stamp is based off of. This is my deadwood stamp, and you can see that instead of making our lines straight, we made them kind of wavy, so it's a different type of wooded look. And then here's another wheat stamp, and then this is a little cherry blossom tree that I made. under the sea coral. So you've got those cute little stars. And then finally I made a fallen log scene, and this one's actually one of my favourite ones because you've got a little mushroom there and the fern bushes, and you've got the log here with the ivy and the moss. So this one turned out really well. I'm quite happy with it. So if you want me to show you how to make any of those stamps, let me know and I'll get ahead with that. And in the meantime, I look forward to showing you this project. The project will be a little bit more complicated than this. I'll show you how to string it, so it'll be a bit more interesting than this. So we'll be back when the stamp is baked, and then I'll show you what sort of an impression it's going to give. Okay, so the stamp is now out of the oven and we are ready to test it. So I've got some copper primo over here, as the stamp should show up pretty well like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spray a really large amount of water on here because you want it to release. And then I'm going to stick the copper down onto the tile over here, and I'm going to rotate this, and I'm actually going to press it into the clay. So I'm just going to stand up and I'm going to press it in. Okay, so it came away pretty cleanly, and so you can see that the imprint is very fine. So I'll just bring over a blade to lift this up so you can see nicely. Lift that up. There we are. So the imprint's pretty nice, and you can see that it's got a bit of a wood grain to it. The actual lines aren't smooth, which is excellent because we want that kind of wooded effect. It's a very simple texture, which is fine. It was very easy to make, and we'll probably take a bead out of this area because this is one of my favourite areas. And I also like how the trees' bases are quite nice. And so what we are going to do is we are going to use this texture in our next project video. Like, we'll take a little bit out of there maybe, and we'll see how that goes. So if you do want more tutorials on how to make your own textures out of your old clay, please do let me know, and I'll put them in my schedule, and we should have some more texture stamp videos. And so I do hope that this tutorial was helpful to you, and if it was, please do let me know, as that's always encouraging. And please do check out my website jessamatutorials.com, as there'll be links to more tutorials like this one there, and there'll also be articles and places where you can send in pictures, and I'm sure that you'll find it helpful. And if you would like more full-blown tutorials, like more complicated than this one, please do visit my Etsy shop, Jessama Design, or my Patreon membership, and there will be more tutorials there. I post quite often, and so I'm sure you won't want to miss a single thing. And as always, I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.